All right, I think Facebook is thinking about it. There we go. Let's make sure volume is about it. There we go. We're good. We're live. So the babies are sleeping. See, I don't think. See, everybody's. My house is empty. Like, you know. So this is a positive. So my house is completely empty.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that's the only way some of these things work. Normally, I'm doing lives from my son's bedroom because he has the best light. And so I'm like, all right, I hope, you know, as long as nobody sees the crib, I think we're good to go.
Right.
Man. So we're jumping in here. There are people are filing in. So we'll probably get started at 2:05. It's 2:03 right now. And I'll obviously cue you in, and we're gonna have some fun. I'm excited. I think I say this all the time, but I'm excited.
Awesome. I'm excited. And thank you for having me on.
Of course. Like, man, like y'all called me about this opportunity. I'm like, heck yeah, let's do this, man. Like, not every day does little old Jeffrey get to have a conversation with the director of a movie. You know, like I'm, you know, just humbled to be in your presence here today. So
stop.
See, I am no. This is amazing, man. I appreciate you guys, you know, and as you were thinking about how do we market for the movie since it's going to be in the festival, like I appreciate you guys for just, you know, picking up the phone and calling PADV, man. Like that's awesome. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, well, we like to, because of what the movie is about, we definitely like to partner with people who, you know, are doing what we want to do.
Yeah. So, hey, there are people here. So let's just jump in here. It's 2:04. I said 2:05, but there are people here. They're watching. So let's jump in. Everybody, welcome. My name is Jeff Brown. I'm the Vice President of Development and Marketing for Partnership Against Domestic Violence. I love what I do. It's amazing. Part of the reason why it's amazing is because during COVID, I've gotten the opportunity to do Facebook Lives every single week and really bring the message of domestic violence to as many people as possible. And so this time, this is going to be amazing because this is going to be my first time, and I said it a little bit earlier, interviewing a director of a movie that relates right back to domestic violence. And so we're going to dive into her movie. And she is amazing. If you guys were wish you guys were part of the pre-show, because then you would have gotten all the pre-show content. But China is amazing. And I'm just going to, China, would you just take a second, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and all those great details.
Sure. Well, as he said, I am China Robinson. I am a writer and director and producer. And I recently produced No Ordinary Love, which you see over my shoulder, which pertains to and deals with intimate partner violence.
Okay, so I have to know, because this is such a heavy topic, right? Like, you know, people don't normally, well, we get very few calls from people saying, hey, we're doing a movie about domestic violence, because it's such a rough topic. So like, why did you just out the gate jump out here and say, I'm going to partner with Tracy and I'm going to do a movie about domestic violence? Like, what was it about this issue that said, boom, let's do it?
You know what? That's actually a more interesting story. Tracy and I met when I filmed my first short film. We used her house for the filming, and we just kind of kept in touch with each other. And the night that the Academy Awards were on in 2018, she emailed me and asked if I would be interested in doing a film on intimate partner violence. And of course, as a filmmaker, you say yes, always, you know, and then just as a human, you know, these are things that we should concern ourselves with. So I thought, yeah, let's do this. Let's hop on this.
So tell me about, I mean, I'm gonna make an assumption, and please tell me if I'm wrong. There's no, you say no, Jeffrey, you're wrong, and you're done. But I'm assuming no background for you with intimate partner violence at all.
That is correct. On the one hand, well, and at the time, I was thinking certainly I'd never had any experience with domestic violence, and I was one of those who thought, well, why doesn't she just leave? Like, it's pretty easy. Someone hits you, you leave, right? So I didn't understand that domestic violence or intimate partner violence was deeper than a hit on, as soon as you get married, just out the gate, and someone starts hitting on you. So I didn't understand those things. But as I started researching, I understood that there's so much more with the relationship that's marred with domestic abuse. And so I realized that, wait a minute, I do have experience here. There are some things, in my past that kind of look like this. So yeah.
See, all right. So rule number one of being interviewed by me is you can't steal my next question. So like, let's stay focused on the question. I'm kidding, of course. But that's real, because I remember when I first started with PADV, like I didn't really understand what domestic violence was. I knew in my mind, okay, it's physical abuse, right? And I was like you. I was like, I don't really have a reference point in my life. My mom and dad, never saw my mom or my dad, get in physical fights. I'm like, I don't think I have a reference point for domestic violence. And then you start to get knee deep into the issue, and you're like, whoa, hold on. Like, even as especially as a guy, right? I wouldn't have thought, no, I don't have no issues with domestic violence. But then I look back on some of the relationships that I was in college and things like, I'm like, that was unhealthy is probably the safest word to say.
Yeah.
So tell me about, like, so you talked about in your last question, you talked about like the research and the journey that you went on before. So what research did you do? How did you kind of come to this place of, all right, I'm ready to make this movie?
Well, when Tracy came to me, and she was the chair of the board of Safe Haven, which is our local shelter and service center for women.
Okay.
When she came to me with the idea to do a feature or a movie, we were thinking a short at first, and it turned into a feature. She introduced me to the CEO of Safe Haven, and the CEO, who is Catherine. She really just kind of opened the door for me. So I was able to go to the shelter, speak with counselors. I was able to sit in on a domestic abuse homicide trial with the prosecutor.
Wow.
Yeah, I sat in court-mandated sessions with abusers. And I ended up speaking with 23 women that were survivors of different types of abuse. So aside from statistical research and, all of that.
So I'm assuming, like, bringing all of that information in, what did that do to you? Personally, just to hear, as a mom, right, with kids, how did that affect you, just taking all of that information in about so many different women?
It was heavy and enlightening at the same time. So of course I'm learning as I'm doing research, I'm really learning, and I'm getting in and I'm speaking with these women who had been through these different situations, and it was truly eye-opening. Like, I didn't understand. I spoke with a few people who had witnessed abuse as a child, men and women, and hearing their stories and seeing that they still carried a lot of that, it was heavy on me, also trying to write and include and, wanting to be respectful of their experiences, in my writing. So it was hard, enlightening and rewarding, but it was absolutely heavy to take on that information.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, there are times where I'll go and I'll listen to some of the women that are in our shelter, and I'll listen to their stories, because for me, from a fundraising perspective and a marketing perspective, at times I feel like I'm a little distant from the mission. And so I will go and talk to, go have dinner but this is pre-COVID, but go have dinner in the shelter, or go, whatever, go wrap presents at Christmas or whatever. And just to connect, just to reconnect myself back to the mission and to people. And it's hard. Like, it is really hard. And so, and I'm talking about doing it, maybe one person at a time. You did 23 women, sat in on a trial. Like, so I can only imagine, like, there had to be I need to sit on somebody's couch just to talk this out. I appreciate you so much already, because none of these questions were on the list of questions I sent you. And you're like, I'm just going to roll with the punches. So I appreciate you. And I do want to let everybody that's watching know, if you have questions for China, she's amazing. I've had this is my second conversation with China. Love her already. This is such an amazing convo. So if y'all have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. And I'll make sure to ask her. Let's keep them kind of focused on the movie, right? Because this is what this is about. But yeah, man, talk to China if there's anything that y'all want to know about the movie. She's here. My next question for you is, so you had a pastor as an abuser, you had a police officer as an abuser. So right off the rip, you went there, right? And why did you pick those two professions to highlight as the abusers?
Well, so I'm in the South. I'm in Texas. So I know y'all are deep South.
Yeah.
But we're in the Bible Belt.
We have sweet tea, so we're our state's a little bit better.
Well, we have
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
But the South, we're in the Bible Belt, right? So spirituality is a big deal, and abuse is one of those things that's hardly ever touched on inside of the church. My pastor is amazing; he absolutely touches on it, but he's one of few. And so it was important to Tracy because that was a part of her story, and then it was important to me to talk about that and address that. And I thought the best way to do that would be to make one of the lead characters a pastor, because who can manipulate scripture better than a pastor, right? And one of the biggest things that we came across was that there are people manipulating the scriptures to say, hey, you have to stay in this marriage because God does not approve of divorce. He hates divorce. So we touched on that. And so other than that, Tracy said, hey, creatively, this thing is yours, but my story is rooted in spiritual abuse. And that's something that's really important to me. So I wanted to honor her with that also. Yeah. So that's how one of the characters was a pastor.
Yep.
The other was a police officer. And I chose that because law enforcement is one of the top 3 professions of abusers, the other being pilot and a physician. And the research shows that it's possibly like that because they hold power in their hands, power of life in their hands every day. When they go to work, you have a surgeon and you have a pilot and you're carrying, that power, and sometimes it translates into something else. So also with a cop, because I could have chosen any of the 3, I chose a police officer because weapons are a big deal with domestic violence, as you know. And I could easily explain why a cop would have, guns as opposed to, a pilot or a surgeon or physician.
Yeah. Unless you're in Texas and pilots and physicians.
Everybody.
Exactly. And I'm in Georgia, so it's the same thing. So this is so fascinating for me because, I appreciate the fact that you went this route, especially from the pastor side, because I think for me as a man, one of my hopes is that when people, and full disclosure for the fans watching this, I've seen the movie. You guys can see the movie later. I think they can see the movie on Thursday, right?
Friday.
Okay, Friday. So real quick, before I finish my point, I'm probably going to forget it. If you're right after you're done with this, go to No Ordinary Love, the movie. You can purchase your ticket to see the movie virtually. Oh, well, it's free. So you still have to register, right?
Register. Get your free pass. Yeah.
Get your free pass to see the movie Friday night. I've seen the movie. It is amazing. So one of my hopes is that when people watch this movie, they will, especially as a man, they understand our role in helping to end domestic violence, right? Because I have seen friends of mine that have manipulated scripture that say, hey, wives submit to your husbands, right? And so they say that scripture as a way to say that I can hold my wife should do everything that I say. But what we forget in times is that next scripture right after that says, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church, right? And so that's a way that abusers typically manipulate scripture to keep their wives in that abusive system. So I appreciate so much that you dove into two heavy topics with that one. I skipped a question, but I want to run right back to it real quick. What was the hardest part for you about making this movie?
Okay, so there were a couple of levels of hard. Mm-hmm. So like I said before, the writing was hard because you have to go back, or me personally, I had to go to a place that I had put away in these toxic relationships, the manipulation and the lying and the heartbreak, and knowing, it's time for me to leave this relationship, but then kind of remembering only good times. And it makes it so hard to leave, which is the same thing in any abusive relationship. One reason you're staying because you remember these good times and you want to go back to the good time. You want the abuse to just stop. Right. So that was hard because I had to revisit all of that. I think there was I can't remember who said it, but there's a quote: no tears in the writer, no tears in the reader, which for me is, no tears in the writer, no tears in the viewer, which means, not that I'm trying to break everybody down, but if I don't feel what my characters are going through, you can't feel what the characters are going through. So I had to go there. So that was difficult. And I guess just filming as an indie film, it wasn't like a bad kind of hard. It was tough, but it was, I like it. It's, one of the jobs where you work really hard, but you love what you do. And so it's okay. So it's like limited budget, limited time. It doesn't matter how well you plan, you're always out of time at the end of the day. So, those type of things. And then I guess, lastly would be, just creating this movie. We didn't want to do a documentary. So you have to figure out how to make this horrid thing that's domestic violence and make it palatable and make it entertaining, because no one is running to the theater to see a movie on domestic violence, right? So you want to appeal to all people. And I wrote it as a romantic thriller is what I decided on. So there's like romance and singing in the kitchen and laughter. And then there are like the tense moments and you're holding your breath or your heart is racing. So we have all of these things. And you've seen it, like,
I was like, I'm telling you, like and I think we talked about this, like I was sitting there like on the edge of my seat, like, because it's a movie about domestic violence. And so you're waiting on it. And I'm like, oh, is this the moment? Is this the moment? And I'm like, this sucks. Like, I don't like I'm getting like anxiety, like waiting on the moment. And then it happens and then I'm angry. Like, and then I'm like, like I want to like, and so I feel bad because I don't ever want to see the two lead men actors. I don't want to see them in the street because I feel like I'm gonna fight them, like, because they made me so angry. I guess that's what you did,
right? Like it was like straight away. It was like, wait, did he mean? Wait, that didn't sit right with me,
man.
Yeah.
Like so they are not allowed in Atlanta. Like they are not allowed in Georgia. You can tell them when you see them. Like if I see them on the street, like it's me and them, and that's what it is. Like, oh, I felt so much anxiety watching this. And then there's a scene, and it's the first, and I won't tell the movie. I'm not gonna do this, but like that first time, and then you shot and you pan to that little baby girl, and she's sitting in the room like and covering her ears, and I'm like, no, I was broken. You broke me.
Well,
you broke me. I
brought it around, right? And laughed after that, and like you felt good after that.
You broke me. And see what's sad is people just laughed in the like somebody did did one of the laughing like reaction things, and I'm like, y'all don't laugh at me, man. Y'all don't know my pain. Wait till you see the movie and then come back. But I mean, the directing and the shots were so amazing. You did such an awesome job with lighting people. I mean, just all those little details. You did an awesome job. There's so many more questions I have for you, but I can tell. So you already won awards, right, for this movie?
Yeah. Like the actors that you don't like, we've got Best Actor.
And he can't display that.
Festival, they were like, oh, nope. I hate him, but here's the award. Like, because he's the greatest guy, both of them, great guys.
Can't be. Can't be.
They can't come. We've gotten Best Ensemble Audience Choice, which was very important because, again, a domestic violence film or a film on domestic violence or intimate partner violence, it still has to entertain or be a movie or appeal to everybody. You're not just talking to one group of people, right? So it's, the audiences have really reacted well. Like they were like, I forgot it was about domestic violence. Like there were some things, but it was more so about relationships. Yeah. And so that was important when I was writing, to write it that way, where we're not just gut punching, people all the way through the movie. Like a little bit, right?
No, you went 1-2 uppercut. And I'm like, Jesus, stop it. So one of the most powerful scenes for me, gosh, y'all need to hurry up and see this movie. One of the most powerful scenes for me was an interaction between the pastor and his dad early on. And again, I'm just going to stop there. Like when you see the movie, you will 100% understand what I'm talking about, but it really gets into, why intervention services are so important, because we have to have this conversation with our kids so that they know what a healthy relationship looks like, so we can truly break the cycle. And that's one of the things that we spend a lot of time at PADV. All of our children get advocates. So like when you check into the shelter as a mom or as a husband or as a man, you get your own advocate and your child gets an advocate as well, so that we can really begin that healing process from both ends of the spectrum. Because what we don't want to see, somebody says, what is the movie called? It's called No Ordinary Love, Victoria. No Ordinary Love. You can find it on Facebook. It's an awesome movie. Go get your free ticket. Go register for your free pass. But yeah, like that's what we talk about, and that's what we do in the shelter with our clients, is really how do we break that cycle so that we don't have to deal with this for generation after generation after generation. All right, so cool. All right, I have more questions. This is only supposed to be 30 minutes, and I think we've already talked for 30 minutes. This is your fault for making such an awesome movie. You're amazing. So, all right, so here we go. So the next question. So in the movie, you definitely touched on so many different forms of domestic violence. Why was that so important for you?
It was important to me because, again, for me going into it, my understanding of domestic violence or intimate partner violence was just physical. And so I needed to like delve into some other forms of abuse, because one, even when there's just physical abuse, it's not just physical abuse, because that's easy to walk away from.
Right.
There are mental games and manipulation, and they have you, feeling that you can't go on without them. So you have to stay, or, and whatever. There's a lot of mind games in abuse. It's about power and control.
Exactly.
Right? So that's what I wanted to get into. It wasn't so much about how many different types of abuse can I put in. It's about power and control. Where does that come in? And how does that come in? And so that's more so what I was trying to do with the writing.
Cool. Okay, real quick. Curtis is watching, and he says, do you honestly believe enough of a light is being shown on this issue? He says he doesn't believe enough early intervention takes place by professional entities when the signs are obvious. So, broad question, do you honestly believe enough light is being shown on the issue?
Absolutely not. That's why, like, you can go watch these different social justice movies, and like all these countries are watching and everybody's watching, but to speak on domestic violence or to speak out about domestic violence is hard. Like, a lot of people close their eyes to it. There's not enough people talking about it and about the different roles. We need to talk about it early. Like after we finish with this movie, like, I'm definitely going to start working with teens, because it starts so early. And so like, there's a lot of intimate partner violence in teen relationships. Crazy, right? But
so that's what your next movie should be about that. Can we do that?
You know what?
Write that down.
If someone wants to send a check, I will absolutely.
Hey, Tracy, you heard that, right? So Tracy, can we go ahead and get the funding going for for
the teen situation
for teen dating violence. But you know what? You're absolutely right. So one of our fastest growing programs as an organization is our teen dating violence program. And so we will go out and talk to teens, parents, anybody who really facilitates conversation with teens and teach them about what a healthy relationship is. Because the staggering statistic is 1 in 3 teenagers are going to deal with dating violence in their life. But 88% of parents don't believe it's an issue for their kids. And so where's that gap, right? And so we have to, as a society, getting back to Curtis's question, I feel like as a society, we have to get to a place where we move away from what happens in your house. It's your business, right? Like we have to be, as a society, much better in that. One of our former board members talked about she was abused in a Wendy's parking lot. And so like went through drive-through, food wasn't ready, parked in the parking section, and then abuser got angry and she was abused in the Wendy's parking lot in broad daylight with people passing by. And it broke her because he was then saying, see, nobody cares about you. You know, like I can do this in broad daylight and nobody's stopping me. And so getting back to Curtis, yes, I do think that there's more we can do, but I think it's a societal thing. And I think it's each one of us saying enough is enough, especially as a man. I feel like we have to say enough is enough and call each other on the carpet. So personal opinion, take it where you want it, Curtis. I appreciate the question. Yeah. Hey, so China, I feel like you should move to Atlanta, you and your family, your husband, your kids. Come on over to Atlanta. We have sweet tea. We have good barbecue. You know, and we can make a teen dating violence movie. So
I see another question came.
Oh yeah. Oh, so you're watching the questions. I see you, China.
You know, so, I'm trying to,
I see you, girl. So all right. So you talking about Micah's question?
Yes.
All right. So Micah asks, what have you heard from DV survivors after they've watched the film? Did they think that it was an accurate portrayal of their experience? Go.
Absolutely. We have, everywhere we've been, whether it was festivals, we did a private screening here, people have come up and the Q&As afterward have been phenomenal. And they've all said, this is spot on. Like, this is accurate. Like every single thing is exactly, you know, the mentality, the complexity inside of these relationships. It's spot on. And even the CEO came and spoke to me after she saw the movie. And she was like, this absolutely answers that question. And why didn't she just leave? And then, like I said, Audience Choice Awards, and we've had, because domestic violence is so prevalent, like, you know, 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 in some places, you know, of women will be abused in their lifetime, right? And men too, right? There's statistics there too. And they've all come up and come out and said, wow, you know, thank you for doing this. This is accurate. And that's, you know, I think where the Audience Choice Awards and, you know, all of that is coming from.
That's awesome. Tracy said yes. I'm going to assume, Tracy, that yes is because you want to make a teen dating violence movie and you agree with China and I, right? So I'm just going to take that at face value. So I talked earlier in the conversation about that child situation, right? Why was it so important for you to have a child witness the abuse?
Okay, so I don't know if you recall, there were actually 2 children. One was a teenager in the pastor's home.
Yeah. Okay, I do that. Yep.
Right?
Okay. Yep.
And then one was the little girl. And the reason that I wrote it like that, so in most homes where there are 2-parent homes and one's a male, one's a female, if you have a teenage boy, who does he want to be like? Daddy, right? And so if he sees his dad speaking to his mother some type of way or treating her some type of way, eventually there's a very good chance that cycle continues with him. Just like from the dad to you know, the guy and then the guy to his son. And just because of time, we had to edit some things out. But basically the teenager started to pick up, you know, some of the things, and that's how that cycle continues.
You edited that out?
I know. But okay, so what else could I have cut? You saw the movie. Where could we spare?
It just should have been as long as it needed to be.
Yeah.
It just needs to be as long as it needed to be. So now I feel like this.
Yeah, anthology or something.
So, all right, when the movie eventually comes out, so like, and I can go and I can buy it somewhere, can I get the director's cut included?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I'm just saying, like, oh, you killing me.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
It's too late.
But with the other child, when you have a little girl, you love your mommy. You know, you want to be like your mommy. But a lot of girls are daddy's girls too. Yeah. So it's kind of like, do I have to choose? Do I like, I don't like what I see. And then also most of the time they're happy and kissy and lovey and, you know, all of that. So what do I do with that? And so the cycle still can continue, because if she begins to think that it's okay, as long as it's not always, or as long as, you know, whatever the situation may be, then she may very well find herself in an abusive relationship and think it's okay to stay. Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, what's amazing is, so one of the things that we see in some of our clients that are in shelter is a lot of the times that the reason they stay in the abusive relationship is because it's for the kids, right? And it's the statistics say that a woman will leave a relationship and then go back to that relationship 8 times before she stays gone. And so, but a lot of the reasons why she goes back is because baby girl or baby boy says, but I love dad, or I love mom, absolutely. You know, and I don't want to be in this shelter. I want to be in a home where mommy and daddy are together. And it's that cycle that's pushing mom or pushing dad back into an abusive relationship. Hey, Curtis has also said a director's cut is mandatory. So
okay, Curtis, I got you.
I appreciate you, Curtis. Thank you for standing strong with me. But yeah, I mean, but that's the reality of a lot of survivors that we see in shelter, is a lot of them, they go back to their abuser because, you know, little baby says, hey, I want to be with mom, or I want to be back with dad. And I'll tell you a quick story. I think the most broken I've ever been as a man was I was at the shelter and I see a man about to walk into the door, and I'm like, hold up, like, it's only 2 dudes that work here for the whole organization. It's only 2 of us. Both of us at the time were named Jeff. And so I'm automatically getting very defensive because I'm like, why is this dude about to walk in the shelter? And this was long story short, this is one of the first men that we ever had in shelter. And the closer I get to him, I see a little girl standing right next to him, and she had to be maybe 2, maybe 3 years old. And you know, I get closer and I can see her, and you know, you're a mom, you know the light that kids have in their eyes, right? You know the loudness that kids are supposed to have, and all you saw in this girl's eyes was brokenness. Like, you just saw pain, you saw suffering. Like, this girl, there was nothing you could do. Like, you know, like, there was no smile. It was just empty, and it broke my heart, man. Like, it broke my heart. And but the good thing is, you know, fast forward 2 months, you got to see the light in that girl. I mean, you know, like, you got to see the joy, you got to see the light, the fire come back in her eyes. And I was like, yes, it works. And he's doing amazing. I mean, you know, my man has a job, he's on his own. He, you know, his story was crazy because he was being abused not only by his wife, but her family as well. So he wasn't even allowed to come back in their house, you know, at all. So we helped him replace her birth certificate, everything about this she couldn't get registered for school or childcare or anything because he didn't have any documentation that this girl was his. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, that story was rough.
I do think that there were 2 important things to pull from that. Number 1.
Yeah, talk to me.
You know, there's life after abuse. I think that's really important to stress, because so many people, like, especially the women that I spoke with, they were so worried about leaving because it's going to be hard. Well, absolutely. It will be hard, especially if you don't have your own resources and income. It will be hard, but there's life after. Like, you weren't put here to just survive. Like, you're here to thrive, right?
Yeah.
So there is life after. Number two, with the birth certificate, it just made me think, because it was something that I included in the movie, to have an escape plan, your birth certificates or passports, cash if you have it, you know, work with someone to get an escape plan before you leave, because the most dangerous time, as we know, for a victim of domestic abuse is when they try to leave. So have your things in order. I mean, if you need to go, go.
Right.
But if you can put your things together and have them in order, have your escape plan, your birth certificates for yourself, your children, or whatever, that could be a huge help as well.
I see you got all the lingo down, man. I see you. Safety planning and everything, man. That's awesome. Okay, so I have two more questions, unless the audience has some. Obviously, you can throw them out there. I love, this has been such a great conversation, but what do you want viewers to take away from this movie?
The most important thing, awareness.
Okay.
And so maybe, you know, stop asking, why didn't she just leave? For one, we need to be asking the abuser, why are you abusing? Period, right? Period. And then I want them to know, like, hey, it's so much more involved than simply just walking away. So I want viewers to stop defining abuse as just one thing, because it's not. And then if people are in an abusive relationship, a lot of them, or some of them, don't realize that it's abusive. And so maybe their awareness is, wait a minute, this is not right. It's more than just a bad relationship. This is an abusive relationship, and, you know, and whatever their outcome is, maybe they can pull from that. And then I guess lastly, check on your people. You know, hey, I haven't heard from so-and-so in a while. Hey, she started dating this guy, or he started dating, you know, whomever or whatever. And then, you know, check on them. People don't just disappear for no reason. You know,
so you're right. I mean, goodness gracious, you're so right, especially during this time, right? Where we're living, you know, sheltered in place in some places, or whatever, like all of us are working from home, like that provides a greater urgency to check on your people. So Tracy wants us to make sure that we remember to mention the fact that we will be speaking more about the movie on Thursday. Yes, we got you, Tracy. This has been such an amazing conversation. I always like when we have guests on, the last question that I always ask them, and actually I didn't even prep you for this question, but the last question I would love for you to answer is what do you tell a survivor that's watching this today, whether they're in the relationship or they're done? What do you have for a survivor?
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Whatever someone is doing to you, you're not weak, and it's not your fault. And there is life after abuse. So those would be my takeaways. Like, you can do this.
That's awesome. Let me tell you, I appreciate you so much for I know you're busy. Right before this, you were finishing up a class. And so I just appreciate you for taking the time to hop on and talk to us. I do want to make sure we let people know, yes, go to No Ordinary Love Movie on Facebook. Get your free pass. You can also you can also go to the website because they have a lot of great information on their website. You get to meet. I think my favorite part about it is you actually get to meet the characters. If you go to the website, you get to hear them talk about themselves. You get to see all the awards that they've been nominated for or have already won for a film. So this movie is amazing. It's gonna be amazing. You guys are gonna love it. But yeah, so definitely go to the website. You can see it here. Just shared it on my screen. And then obviously go all the way down to the bottom, and you'll get to see just some conversations with the actors. So just again, good stuff. It's a great movie. You guys are gonna love it. And China, again, I appreciate you so much. If you have any questions or concerns, definitely you can call PADV. We are always here to help and support you. You can visit us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at PADV Atlanta. China, real quick, how do they contact you, or not necessarily you, but tell us how we can get more information about the movie?
Definitely our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Instagram and Facebook, No Ordinary Love Movie. Twitter is NOL Movie. And the website, in case they didn't catch, is noordinarylovemovie.com. So any of those things we have, you can send a message on social media, you can email us, you can look to see where we will be showing. Like again, this Friday, we'll be at Bronze Lens Film Festival. Later this month, we will be at American Black Film Festival, ABFF. So both of those, they'll be able to watch the movie online for free due to COVID. So
hey, I think that's awesome though, man. Y'all are going to reach so many people.
Yes.
And I think that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Curtis said he wants you to run for president in 2020.
Ha!
Curtis is your biggest fan. So, hey, I appreciate China sincerely, bottom of my heart, bottom of this organization. So we appreciate you so much for not shying away from this issue. I get it. You're a writer and director, but you still could have said no. You could have said, I don't know if that's the direction that I want to go in with my time and the limited time that you do have, but you said yes. And so there's a lot of women who are going to see this, and men. There are going to be a lot of people who see this movie, and their lives are going to be different, and their lives are going to be saved because you said yes. So I appreciate you. I hope everybody watching this appreciates you as well. So Facebook, come back Thursday. Yeah. We're going to be talking more about the movie.
With Tracy.
With Tracy. Tracy's going to join us on Thursday?
Yeah.
Or is it just me and her, or is it us three?
You and her on Thursday. Spiritual abuse and
yes.
The inspiration.
You can see how much I pay attention. Emails come fast and furious. But no, Thursday. So Thursday is going to be amazing. So we're going to dive a little bit more into some domestic violence related stuff. But China, we appreciate you so much. You are amazing. This movie's going to rock. And so y'all go right now. No Ordinary Love on Facebook. Get your free pass. Don't say you missed it. This is not a movie that you want to say you missed out on. So go get it. Go
share. Please share.
Yes, do that. Everybody hit the share. Go to No Ordinary Love on Facebook right now. Here, matter of fact, let's just do this. Let's show everybody so we can get that out there. No Ordinary Love, because I don't want anybody to have an excuse not to do this. Super simple. Boom, let's share
Victoria, you are good. You are a survivor. You hear me? So it's not your fault.
We appreciate you, Victoria. All right, so here we go. Let's share this screen because I don't want anybody to walk away from this having an excuse not knowing where they need to go to get this information. So here you go. No Ordinary Love Movie. This is what you'll see when it pops up on Facebook, and super simple. You just scroll down a little bit, and I think one of the first posts are going to be about ways that you can see the film. So boom, right there. So you have no excuse to not see this film. It's going to be amazing, and I promise you you'll enjoy it. So again, China, you rock. You're amazing. I hope you're going to watch on Thursday with me and Tracy, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right.
I'll be there.
Cool. All right, cool. All right. So again, thank you guys for watching. We're all done. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thank you.